Did you know that your processor is more than just clock speeds? What's up, everybody? It's Adam with the Don Tech, and today we're continuing the episode series of picking a component that is best for your computer. I'm in the process of building a brand new computer for myself personally, so I figured why not take the time, go through all the parts that are out there, show you my thought process and why I'm picking the parts I'm picking, finding the best prices, and kind of going from there. In the previous episode, we picked a motherboard, and we've gotten that linked on PC Part Picker. As that updates, this should be the Don Tech, or whatever this list will be here. I will make sure that that is in the description of the videos themselves. We're going to go through and find every single component, match them all together, make sure they've got good compatibility, see the wattage, and build an awesome system afterwards. And since we've picked this Asus ROG Strix Z890E gaming Wi-Fi motherboard, we're going to need an Intel processor to go with it. So we go to our handy dandy website, newegg.com, and we're just going to go ahead and search through components and storage, CPU/processor, and we're going to go to, let's see, desktop CPU processor. We already know that we can get rid of almost more than half of the options here. We're going to stick with Intel, hit apply, shop by Newegg, always. Don't buy from third party. You don't get a warranty and you don't know if it's going to be actually decent or if it's going to be actually OEM and brand new. And then our socket is going to be the 1851, but we also know that this is going to be the Core Ultra. So we're just going to stick with that Core Ultra 9 there. Now, there's not much of a difference between the Core Ultra 9 and the previous 14th gen situation. This computer actually to my left that might not be in frame, that is wall mounted, check the video on that one, has a 13th gen i7. Fantastic, rock solid CPU. I'm so pleased with that performance. It shreds through everything I'm doing. So I was a little disappointed that Intel has kind of taken a slower, essence of how their processors are going, but it just kind of, you reach the power peak, you reach a ceiling at some point. So these seem like fantastic processors though, from what I've seen so far. And I'm very excited to get my hands on one and kind of work on it. And looking at these, if I said SSD, excuse me, I meant CPU. They say free SSD right there. So it's like I'm drawn to that. So we've got a couple of different options here with, your typical, naming convention has been changed a little bit. They had i3, i5, and i7s, and now they have the Ultra 5, Ultra 7, and Ultra 9. I think they got rid of they got the 5, 7, and 9. They kind of got rid of that lower end i3 series, which is, fine. But I mean, if we look at the prices, it's probably going to be a little sad on that sense. So if we go like lowest price, you cannot buy a processor for less than $250. It's not a terrible price, but it's definitely one of those things that, you used to be able to get a $50, $60, $100 processor for these budget builds, but budget builds are almost completely going away. So when I'm shopping for the processors, I like to really focus on a couple of different things. Let's do featured items here. I like to mainly focus on my personal needs, which is going to be video gaming, video editing, streaming, recording, all those sort of things. It's going to be a multi-use, multi-purpose PC, so I need to make sure that I've got enough cores, clock speed, and pretty much oomph to this processor to get me everywhere I need to go. The power of the system is also very important. We don't want to go too high where we have these insane power requirements where the system's going to be running too hot, but we don't want to go too low where we might run into some throttling with everything we're going to be doing. In regards to compatibility, I normally like to buy components that you can maybe use for multi-generations or multi-systems, but a lot of these processors are kind of sticking with like one generation to one socket and then wanting to change all these socket types. It's annoying, but most of my builds last anywhere from 8 to 10 years, and then I purposely choose to upgrade them. So the socket type and this socket 1851 being available only for this particular generation shouldn't really be too bad for me. And then that goes into future-proofing where, again, this system will last for a good while. My previous system, which is an i7 8700K, which I upgraded to an i7 9700K because I got one for free from a friend, it's one of those things that was a 8-core system, I think, and these are coming up with a 8P plus 16E sort of a thing, 20 to 24 sort of cores, and this should be much better for the future. And next time I need to upgrade the computer in another 8 to 10 years, who knows what we'll have? We'll kind of see in 8 to 10 years from now. Subscribe. So when it comes to buying a processor, they have, with Intel, a few variants. They have the K series, which is unlocked, and they have the KF series. KF simply means that there is no dedicated graphics on the actual processor. I don't like that because that means that if you build a computer and you plug in the display to your graphics card, you turn it on and you don't get any post or you don't get any video, you can't rule out if the graphics card is a problem. Because normally what you could do is you pull the graphics card out and you plug it into the motherboard, the display, to see if you can get post. If you can, okay, fantastic, you know where the problem is. Or if, let's say, you were using your computer for a couple of years, turn it on, one day it doesn't show, any video, you're like, oh shoot, did my graphics card die? You can't test it without another graphics card. So if you buy the KF variant, that's a trap you can get into. And as you can see here, that's a $2 savings. It's not worth it at all for that oddly specific but relatively important loophole that you could have, or problem that you could have. So I always recommend sticking with the actual K variant. If they have a non-K to not even overclock, it doesn't really matter. I have not done any overclocking, and overclocking hasn't been necessary to do. Gosh, since I got my AMD system back in 2006, like quite literally. It was cool back in the day, but now these systems just bleed through everything. You don't need any additional overclocking. I am curious here, if we go and compare that one with this one specifically, that Core 9 Ultra and then the other Core 9. Let's get rid of that board from last time. And let's go ahead and go through, and we're going to compare that one as well. The i7 Core 7s are usually pretty fantastic in everything that you would need to do, and they fit the bill for almost everything. The i5s are also so powerful. These two right here, I'm just curious about. Okay, so this is the Core Ultra. This is the unlocked version. So the only difference here for $10 is it's not unlocked. And primarily what you can see is you have a 14 core, a 20 core, and a 24 core processor for a difference of 320, 372, and 600. Going through it and everything, I mean, it's kind of like when you go to a fast food restaurant and you can buy a small for $1, a medium for $1.50, or a large for $1.60. And it's like, well, why don't I just get the large for $1.60? It's kind of like that here. It's like, well, why, spend the extra $60 and get, this, that's actually extra $50 and get, 6 more cores. That's kind of worth it. So in this situation, looking at everything we're planning, we don't want to create as much heat as we would with the Core 9 series. We don't need the 24 cores, and getting the Ultra 7 probably would be a perfect deal for everything that we would need to do. 20 cores, 20 threads. This says 14, 14, 24, 24. And I've worked on a couple of systems that have the i9 and the Core Ultra 9 series processors in them. And the biggest issue with those is they just run so much hotter than what they should be. And since they generate so much more heat, that can cause the entire case to heat up more, which can cause premature damage to the components if they are just running at a higher than necessary temperature 24/7. And when you start at a processor that's a little bit lower in temp, you have a higher threshold before you start to have any problems. My other system is running at about 33 degrees Celsius on idle, but this one runs about maybe 40 to 50 degrees Celsius on idle, maybe like 42 degrees Celsius on idle. It's really not that bad, but I like to see it lower when it's just sitting there doing nothing. They all have a very similar thermal watt power design. The max turbo for the wattage on the i5 is going to be the least, the Core Ultra 5 at 159 watts, and then these are probably very similar in their abilities and how much heat they're going to kind of generally make. They all have the same amount of, the PCI Express lanes. They've got the same revision. They got the same integrated graphics, same RAM, dual channel memory, and same speeds. I mean, it's interesting that the i7 right in the middle has more support for speeds. I would doubt if both of the Ultra 5 and Ultra 9 are limited to DDR5 6400. That would be really weird. That's probably just an issue on Newegg itself. But through looking at all these in the middle of the road, I want to have something that's going to last me a long time, be reliable, be stable, and that's going to be this Intel i7, the Core Ultra 7 processor. So we take this information, we go back over to our PC Parts Picker tab, and we're going to go to choose a CPU. And that's going to show up right at the top here. So we know it was the Core Ultra 7 265K. Just going to add that, and already, what? Oh, okay. That is such a terrible warning. These parts have potential issues or compatibility. See the details below. And you go down to the details and they say, warning, the Core Ultra 7 265K does not include a stock CPU cooler. Yeah, nothing really includes a stock CPU cooler anymore. And then we see our estimated wattage at 320. That's going to be the max theoretical throughput. That's not how much it's just going to be to use the system itself. So all these videos will be turned into a playlist itself. So if you're interested in seeing any of the other components, check the description, check the playlist, subscribe to see what's going to be coming in the future with all these different components and seeing this particular build be completed in and of itself. Leave this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. And this has been the Don. This has been the Don Tech. We picked a CPU, and next time we're going to pick what? A case. All right, yes, next time we're going to pick a case. And remember, the Don's got your back.